300 geoglyphs. Perfectly proportioned. Some stretching over a mile long. And not a single one can be fully seen from the ground. The Nazca people created these masterpieces 2,000 years ago without aircraft, without drones, without any way to view their own work. Impossible? Researchers thought so too. Until they discovered the ingenious method hiding in plain sight. Here is the mystery that kept archaeologists awake at night. The Nazca Lines cover an area of nearly 200 square miles of Peruvian desert. We are talking about drawings so massive that the famous spider geoglyph alone measures 150 feet long. The hummingbird stretches 300 feet. And the largest figures extend over 1,200 feet. But here is what makes this truly baffling. These are not rough sketches. They are geometrically precise. The proportions are mathematically accurate. Lines run perfectly straight for miles. And the Nazca people accomplished this between 500 BCE and 500 CE with nothing but stone tools and rope. So the question that will drive everything we discover today is this: how do you create perfect mile-long artwork when you cannot see what you are drawing? Before we unlock the method, you need to understand what we are actually looking at. The Nazca culture thrived in one of the driest places on Earth. This desert receives less than 1 inch of rain per year. That extreme aridity is precisely why these drawings survived for 2 millennia. The lines themselves were created using a surprisingly simple technique. The desert surface is covered with iron oxide-coated pebbles that appear dark reddish-brown. Beneath this layer lies lighter-colored ground, yellowish-gray clay, and limestone. The Nazca artists did not paint anything. They simply removed the top layer of dark stones, exposing the lighter ground beneath. If this is already making you see ancient people differently, drop a like so I know to keep going. In some places, they only needed to clear away 12 inches of material. The contrast between dark pebbles and light ground created lines visible from incredible distances. Now here is where it gets strange. For decades, people assumed the Nazca Lines required some form of flight to create. But in 1983, researcher Joe Nickell decided to test a radical theory. What if no aerial view was needed at all? What if the Nazca people used a technique so elegantly simple that we had been overcomplicating the mystery for generations? Nickell and a small team recreated a Nazca-style condor figure using only materials available to ancient Peruvians. Wooden stakes. Cord made from natural fibers. And a small-scale drawing. No modern tools. No aerial guidance. The result? A perfectly proportioned figure over 400 feet long, completed in just 2 days. But wait. That experiment only proved it was possible. The real question remained, is that actually how the Nazca did it? And that is when archaeologists made a discovery that changed everything. Scattered across the Nazca Pampa, archaeologists found them. Hundreds of wooden stakes, some still standing in their original positions after 2,000 years. These were not random posts. They were the physical evidence of the Nazca surveying system. The stakes were positioned at key points, intersections of lines, corners of figures, endpoints of straight sections. And here is the critical detail. Near many stakes, researchers found small-scale drawings, preliminary sketches made on pottery and textiles that exactly matched the giant figures on the desert floor. The Nazca people created detailed drawings at a manageable size, then used a grid system to scale those drawings up by massive proportions. Think about what this means. Each stake represented a point on their small grid. By placing stakes at proportionally greater distances, they could transfer any design from a small template to the desert floor. A 12-inch drawing could become a 1,200-foot masterpiece. But here is what most people never consider. The Nazca Lines are not random artwork scattered across the desert. They form a deliberate network, and many lines point directly at positions where the sun and moon rise and set during solstices and equinoxes. In 1968, astronomer Gerald Hawkins applied the same computer analysis he used to decode Stonehenge to the Nazca Lines. His findings were remarkable. Certain lines aligned with celestial events far beyond random chance. The Nazca people were not just artists. They were astronomers, using their desert canvas to track the heavens. If you want to see how deep this mystery really goes, subscribe now because we are just getting to the most incredible part. And this astronomical connection explains something that has puzzled researchers for years. Why create art that cannot be seen from the ground? What if the intended audience was never human at all? The Nazca people believed their gods lived in the sky. The mountains. The sun and moon and stars. And here is where archaeology meets anthropology. In Nazca religion, these geoglyphs were offerings, prayers made visible to celestial deities looking down from above. The lines were not meant for human eyes. They were meant for divine ones. But the Nazca achieved something even more remarkable. Using their grid and stake system, they created straight lines that extend for miles with an accuracy that rivals modern surveying equipment. Researchers using GPS technology have confirmed that some lines deviate by less than 0.1 degree over their entire length. That is mind-blowing precision achieved with nothing but stakes, cords, and human ingenuity. Drop your prediction in the comments about how you think they verified their accuracy, because the answer is beautifully simple. And here is the elegant solution. To verify their work, the Nazca did not need to fly. They needed elevation. And the desert provided it. Throughout the Nazca Plateau, natural hills and ridges rise above the pampa floor. From these vantage points, overseers could direct workers below using signals, gestures, or calls that echoed across the silent desert. Workers on the ground could not see the full picture, but they did not need to. They followed the stakes and cords precisely. Meanwhile, spotters on elevated positions verified that lines ran true and curves maintained their intended shapes. This division of labor, ground crews executing and elevated spotters directing, allowed complex figures to emerge with stunning accuracy. Modern experiments have proven this exact method works. In 2015, researchers successfully created a new Nazca-style geoglyph using only ancient techniques, confirming that human ingenuity alone explains these desert masterpieces. But the story does not end with technique. It deepens with purpose. Recent research suggests the Nazca lines serve multiple functions beyond religious offerings. Many lines converge at points where underground water sources flow, aquifers in a desert where water meant survival. Some researchers believe the lines functioned as a vast water map, directing travelers and communities to precious resources. Others point to evidence of ritual walking, where the lines themselves served as ceremonial paths, journeys of devotion across the sacred landscape. The Nazca created not just art but infrastructure, spirituality, and survival knowledge encoded in the desert floor. This was a civilization that transformed 200 square miles of barren plateau into the largest artistic canvas in human history. And the discoveries continue. As recently as 2022, researchers using artificial intelligence analyzed aerial imagery and identified 143 previously unknown geoglyphs. New figures keep emerging from the desert, humanoid shapes, animals, and abstract patterns that expand our understanding of Nazca culture. But perhaps the most profound lesson is not archaeological. It is about human capability. The Nazca lines prove that ancient peoples possessed sophisticated mathematical understanding, precise engineering, skills, and organizational abilities that rival modern capabilities. They did not need advanced technology to achieve remarkable things. They needed ingenuity, patience, and a deep connection to their environment and beliefs. 2,000 years later, their desert drawings still speak across time, challenging us to recognize the genius of our ancestors. Now consider what the Nazca people left behind. Over 300 geoglyphs. Hundreds of geometric shapes. Thousands of lines crisscrossing 200 square miles. All created by hand over approximately 1,000 years. Generation after generation dedicated themselves to this desert canvas, adding new figures, maintaining old ones, and passing down the knowledge of how to create them. This was not the work of a few visionary artists. It was a civilization-wide commitment to something larger than any individual life. The dedication required to sustain this project across centuries speaks to values we rarely see in our fast-paced modern world. Patience measured in lifetimes. Vision extending beyond any single generation. So the next time someone suggests that ancient people needed supernatural help to achieve remarkable things, remember the Nazca. Remember the wooden stakes still standing after 2,000 years. Remember the small pottery drawings that became mile-long masterpieces. Remember the spotters on hills calling directions to workers they could barely see. Remember the grid system that transformed simple mathematics into monumental art. The Nazca Lines are not a mystery of how. We know how. The real mystery is why we ever doubted that human beings alone could achieve such wonders. These desert drawings stand as permanent proof that ingenuity, community effort, and dedication can create things that endure for millennia, messages from our ancestors that we are capable of far more than we often believe. Now you understand how the Nazca created mile-long perfection without ever leaving the ground. Simple tools. Brilliant mathematics. Generations of dedication. The real mystery was never the lines themselves but our underestimation of ancient human genius. What ancient achievement do you want me to investigate next? Drop it in the comments, and I will uncover the truth behind another lost piece of knowledge.